In the beginning of the parsha, the Torah tells us that Hashem is taking the Yidden, going to be taking them through the Midbar towards the Yam Suf, and that the Yidden came up armed out of Mitzrayim. Then the pasuk says Moshe Rabbeinu takes the bones of Yosef along with him, because Yosef made the Yidden promise that they would do so. The Klei Yakar asks the connection between these two psukim, and he answers it in two different ways. Number one is, the Medrash actually tells us that the Yidden were traveling through the Midbar. There was always these two Aroinos traveling with them. The Aron of the Shechina, the Luchos, and the one of Yosef. Now, at this point, of course, they don't have the Aron of the Shechina of the Luchos yet. It's still before Matan Torah. So the Pasuk is telling us, since the previous Pasuk says, V'chamushim olu b'nei Yisrael, the Yidden went up armed out of Mitzrayim. How do they go up armed? This is what the next pasuk is telling us. They're going armed with the Aron of Yosef. So that's answer number one. Answer number two, the Klei Yakar says that it's actually connected with the point of the pasuk that it says Hashem is going to be taking them towards the Yam Suf. So Moshe Rabbeinu takes along the bones of Yosef, that it should be dischus to be able to have Kriyas Yam Suf. The Rebbe says seemingly these two ideas are not necessarily so simply understood in Pshutei Shel Mikra. They're not mentioned in the psukim in any way. So we still want to understand more this connection between this idea of Moshe Rabbeinu taking Yosef's bones, and not only as a continuation of Yetzias Mitzrayim, because Yosef made them promise, but it seems to be also connected to the idea that they're about to go into the Midbar. So what's the connection? And also, what's the Hoirah to us? In order to understand this, the Rebbe focuses on the words Vayikach Moshes Atzmos Yosef Imoy. Seemingly, it doesn't sound like such a respectful way of speaking the bones of Yosef. Why doesn't it say the Aron of Yosef or the like? The Rebbe explains that the word atzmois, which means bones, but it's so called also because it's the same word as etzem. In other words, the essence of the person. That means that taking the essence of Yosef, the atzmos of Yosef, taking the essence of Yosef, this is what was crucial for going into the Midbar. What is the essence of Yosef? It's expressed in his name. It says Rachel called his name Yosef, Lamer saying Yosef Hashem li ben Achar, Hashem should add and give me another child. But Chassidus explains that ben Achar also means to make out of someone who was an Acher, someone that was a foreigner, someone that was distant, someone that's estranged to Hashem, make him into a ben, make him into a child. Abanim atem la Hashem lekechem, connect him to Hashem. And this is actually very important for Yetzias Mitzrayim. Because in Yetzias Mitzrayim, this is when it's being fulfilled. The Eibishter's promise that the Eibishter had said, Shalach is b'ni, send out my child, and b'ni b'chayri Yisrael, Yidden are my children, the Yidden are all banim to Hashem, and now this is when it's coming out in a revealed way. So as a preparation to that, Moshe Rabbeinu takes the atzmos Yosef, the essence of Yosef, which is the idea that we're going to impact every single Yid, even those that don't seem to be children to Hashem, and we're going to reveal in them too that they are a child of Hashem. Says the Rebbe, this idea is also connected to the very end of the Parsha, the Mulchama of Amalek, against Amalek, who Yeshua specifically was the one appointed to fight Amalek. How so? The reason why Amalek was able to fight the Yidden was because, unfortunately, by the Yidden there were then people that were weak in their emunah. As Rashi says, the cloud spat them out, the cloud expelled them because of their sins. So there could be an argument. Why should the God-fearing people go out of the cloud, out of the protection, to go fight for these Yidden that the cloud expelled? And this again goes back to the beginning of the parsha that Moshe Rabbeinu takes atzmos Yosef. That even if you have these people that have doubts in emunah, we need to go out of the cloud to save them. To make from the acher, from these that are foreign, make them into a ben, into a child of Hashem. And this, of course, comes again with that power of Yosef, atzmos Yosef, that Moshe takes out of Mitzrayim, and specifically through Yehoshua, who's actually a descendant of Yosef. Says the Rebbe, this is why this pasuk Vayikach Moshes atzmos Yosef comes right after the pasuk that says that Hashem is taking the Yidden through the Midbar. If the Yidden would go directly into Eretz Yisrael, they would have immediately the full Gula. They wouldn't necessarily need this special message and this special koyach. But when they're about to go into the Midbar, which is a dangerous place, physically and spiritually, it's possible that a Yid, unfortunately, won't be able to overcome all the challenges of the spiritual desert, and he will act like an acher, like someone that's estranged to Hashem. So we need to have this koyach and this reminder always to make from the acher into a ben, to make him into a child. Says the Rebbe, this is also Hayra, the lesson for all times and places. When we are in Golus, which is the spiritual midbar, we need to take this Atzmus Yosef to make from the Acher, from the foreigners, from the estranged ones, into a child. And this itself causes that all the Yidden should be redeemed from this Golus, not like in Golus Mitzrayim, where some Yidden, unfortunately, didn't end up coming out. The Rebbe now connects this to another aspect. Parshas Beshalach, we always read in Chodesh Shvat. It says in Svarim that the 12 months correspond to the 12 Shvatim. Shvat, the 11th month from Nisan, corresponds to Yosef. What's the connection between Shvat and Yosef? So this will be explained based on something that says in Kabbalah. In Kabbalah, it says that every single month has a special tziruf, a special combination of Shem Havayah. That means Yud Kei Vav Kei. The letters can be rearranged in different ways. So every month has a different tziruf of Shem Havayah, and each one is connected to a specific pasuk. The special pasuk for Chodesh Shvat and the special Shem Havayah that's connected to Chodesh Shvat comes from the words Homer Yimirenu V'Hoyahu. Now, what's the context of the pasuk? It's speaking about the din of Tumura that usually you're not supposed to take and substitute. If you have a carbon, you can't come along and say you're going to substitute this ordinary animal for the holy animal, and the ordinary animal should now become holy and the holy animal become mundane. Rather, the pasuk says you're not allowed to do that. And if Hamer Yimirenu, if you do exchange them, V'Hayahu Usmurasa Yekaidish, they're both going to be holy. But the Rosh Hashanah, the words that we're focusing on is these four words: Hamer Yimirenu V'Hayahu, which is Rosh Hashanah, Hey Yud Vav Hey, which is Shem Havayah rearranged. So the Rebbe asks, as we just said, the idea of Tumura, this exchanging, is something that's not allowed. It's only if you exchange it, they're both going to be holy. How does it make sense that a tziruf of Shem Havayah is coming out specifically from these words of Homer Yimirenu V'Hayahu, that if you do exchange, as if that's an avodah, it almost sounds like you're supposed to exchange it. So the Rebbe says the explanation is, the idea of Tumura is that you're taking from something that was mundane and making it holy. Very similar to the avodah we were speaking about, making from the acher, from someone that was foreign and distant, making him into a child. Now for this, one is going to have to go down from his high level, from his avodah, kedusha, etc., his Torah and tefillah, and get out of his own safe zone of kedusha to go out there to be makar of this other yid. And you might ask, why would I go out there and leave my space of kedusha? And this is what the Torah is saying. Yes, in truth, it's not the regular, ordinary seder avodah. But when Yidden are found in a midbar, in a state of sakanas nefashos, in danger, then we have to stop the avodah. We need to pause with our avodah with ourselves and go out there to save those Yidden. So that's the idea of Tumura. On the one hand, first of all, the Tumura by the person himself, the mashpia, he's exchanging his own holy place. He's lowering himself down, but he's also doing it for exchanging the person that's on the lowly level, to exchange him into Kedusha. But the Torah says when you do that, then V'Hayahu Usmurasa Yekaidish, you're both going to be holy. Both are going to gain both the mashpia and the makabel. That's point number one that we take from this pasuk. Another point that we take from this pasuk. There are people that argue and say would all be very nice if I put on tefillin with another yid, and then he would become a full shomer Torah mitzvahs. He's coming into the cloud, so to speak, remaining there in Torah and avodah. Very nice. But what is the benefit of putting on tefillin one time or another mitzvah one time, and then the person returns right back to where he was, and seemingly it's not noticeable the fact that he became and remained holy? So first of all, the Rebbe says we know the psak of the Rambam, that through one mitzvah you tip the scale for yourself and the whole world. Number two, we know that every single mitzvah connects a yid to the Eibishter in an eternal way. Furthermore, we know the idea of mitzvah gereris mitzvah. Each mitzvah brings to another mitzvah till finally he will become a shomer Torah mitzvahs. You're going to say, but in the meantime, you're not seeing that usmurasa hi kodesh, that he's becoming holy. Says the Rebbe, the truth of the matter is these words usmurasa hi kodesh are not part of the Rosh Hashanah. Meaning to say that yes, on the one hand, we have to do as much as we can in trying to be makar of the other yid. But even if we don't see the results, even if we don't see the V'Hayahu Usmurasa Kodesh, we have to do our part. The rest is up to Hashem. And that's the pshat, that in this Rosh Hashanah itself, we only have the Hamer Yimirenu V'Hayahu. You have that you're going to try to exchange him, and you're going to remain in your greatest level, and you'll try to schlep him along as well. But the next words, Usmurasa Kodesh, that wasn't part of the Rosh Hashanah. And the Rebbe concludes by saying this is all very connected also to the Yosef of our generation. The Rebbe is referring to the Frierdiker Rebbe, who that's actually his first name as well, whose Yomistalkus and Ilula many years falls out in Parshas Beshalach. a very central theme, the most central theme in his avodah, for which he had Mesiras Nefesh and sent out Shluchim for this, was to be Mekarev Yidden to Aviyim Shebashamayim, to their Father in heaven. And when you go in this shlichus, the koyach of Nesiderenu, then not only doesn't it cause a yerida, doesn't it cause a descent in the person doing this avodah, but on the contrary, all of the qualities that you help the person get to, the special qualities of Baal Tshuva, the person working with him also gets all of these extra benefits. And in a way of Yitzchak, which is the second name, of course, of the Frierdiker Rebbe, which means Simcha v'tul levav. And through this avodah, all the Yidden enter into the army of Hashem, and we go out of the Golos b'vias Mashiach Tzedkeinu b'ge'ulah ha'amitis v'ashlema.